Ladies and gentlemen, how are you guys doing this morning? All right. We want to welcome each and every one of you guys to the 50th anniversary banquet award ceremony for the Navajo Nation Emergency Medical Services Department. So let's give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Just before we get started, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Michael Bitta. I'm from Shiprock, New Mexico. She Michael Bitta yin xie. Tko bahan da shi chin hawan plana da shi che. Tko tachini da shi the. Oh wait, let me see. I start that over. All right. All right. Oh, I have to rewind. I'm getting nervous because I see some delegates in here. I'm getting scared, all right? She Michael Bitta yin xie tachini in the slung class she ba shi chin tko bahan da shi che hawan plana da shi nella. I am very blessed and honored to have 4 of the major clans, so that makes my life very hard, which means I can't date anybody. Hey, jokes, and we're here to have a good time, ladies and gentlemen, all right? And most importantly, we're here to honor our EMS services. So we want to thank each and every one of you guys here today for being here. Oh, I think radiation. So don't sit too close underneath the speakers, else you guys are going to be glowing when you get home, all right? But again, we want to welcome each and every one of you guys here today. We want to thank all our EMS. We have some that are in uniform because they, as you guys know, they are 24 hours, so they're still on the job right now. So if you guys happen to choke, they are here for you guys. Just joking. All right, we're here to have a good time, so we're going to have jokes throughout the whole entire facility or the whole entire event, so I hope you guys are ready to laugh. I have a little DJ services out in Shiprock, New Mexico, so if you guys want more information on that, you guys are more than welcome to. I also do stand-up comedy with 1491 Dropouts. If you guys haven't heard of them, they're on the come up, so you guys will hear from them very soon. But again, if you guys happen to see the camera right now, we are actually live streaming over on Facebook, YouTube, or wherever they're at. So if you guys are not here with someone you're not supposed to be here with, don't look at that camera, all right? We don't want you guys to get in trouble, all right? We don't want you guys to get in trouble. We want you guys all to be safe. I see a couple of you guys already ducking down. I see one lady fixing her eyebrows already. You look beautiful, okay? So you don't need to fix your eyebrows. How many of you guys are here to have a good time? Go ahead and put your hands up. All right. How many of you guys are here to celebrate our 50th EMS anniversary? Put your hands up. All right, just a quick backstory. I appreciate the EMS services. I know on the reservation we get a bad rep of, oh, they take too long, they're forever to get there. But for me personally, I am very fortunate and very blessed to have them on our Navajo Nation and also helping our community, because 14 years ago, the EMS department actually helped my family in saving my daughter. So a big round of applause. So thank you guys so much. My daughter right now, she's 14 years old and she's alive today because of EMS and Shiprock. So I'm not too sure who it was that came into my house to save my daughter, but man, I am so blessed and I'm so fortunate that we had that service there. So if it wasn't for the EMS, my daughter would not be here today, and I am blessed because they are here to serve us here. So we're going to go ahead and call up our guest who's going to do the invocation for us. And if you guys haven't noticed, there is some fruits and some snacks over here on this side. If you guys don't know what vegetables are, there's a tray over here. Go ahead and grab some. They're not just only in Navajo stew, okay? You can eat them raw too, all right? I heard somebody already, I only eat mine in stew. It's awesome. Check this out. Ooh, witchcraft, huh? Hey, jokes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want to introduce you guys traveling all the way from the Apache Reservation. I need you guys to make some noise for Mr. Joe Tahani Jr. and the Apache Crown Dancers.
Wow, breathe. Wow, you guys are just really quiet. What happened? Ladies and gentlemen, let's give these guys one big round of applause for showing up here today. I'm being hooked up with all this stuff here, right here. So, wow, everybody's just looking at me. Really? really. Yate. Merry Christmas. How do you guys say Christmas in Navajo? Okay. Count at three. Right on three. I want you guys to say that, okay? I want to hear the real Navajo out of you guys. See what falls out of your mouth when we say it. I'm just teasing. How many of you guys ready for Christmas? How many think they're ready? How many last minute shoppers? Hey, so you guys are last minute snaggers, all right. Well, my name is Joe Tahani Jr. We drove all the way from White River, Arizona, and it's a big honor for us to be here today. To every one of you here, just enjoy. Day. Man, you guys are so quiet. I bet you guys were all loud earlier, huh? Wow. You know, guys, I've been doing this for so many years. What I'm doing here, I did it for over 20 years. But the other side of it with my grandfather, I've been doing this since I was 6 years old. I'll be honest with you guys. I never want nothing to do with this. I didn't want nothing to do with my culture. I didn't want to hear my grandfather's stories and stuff like that. Because you live in a traditional world, we have to have a big, big respect for whatever we do in our life. We are taught to where we're not supposed to hate anyone when we walk the traditional life. We're not supposed to put down anybody. We're supposed to help, encourage you all. Talk to you guys. Today's world that we live in, a lot has changed since I started this. Back then was good. All the medicine men used to help one another. We used to walk into the sweat lodge. We used to pray together. Nowadays, it's different. When I'm back home, they ask me, why don't you go join the other group? You're not part of our group. The sweat lodge is supposed to be open for everybody. This here, these crowns that we have, yes, they're not supposed to be out in the open. But a lot of you out here need that help, need that prayer, need that blessing. Some of you depend on these. Some of you still searching for what belief in religion you're looking for. Some of you here walk by 3 or 4 belief in your life. It's okay. In this world we live in, everybody will judge you for who you are. So be it. You're living your life, walk and keep going. Don't let anybody else change that from you guys. If someone just talks about you ladies out here, I know a lot of you get that, huh? That other lady make faces at you, roll their eyes at you. Hey, be happy. Just remember, every one of you here, if you have an enemy that hate you, all you got to do, say a prayer, forgive them, and move on, because you will be rewarded with something special down that way, because our Creator heard you say, I forgive him. That's how life is. Every one of you here, smile. Don't be mad all the time. What you're going to do with that anger? If something ain't working out for you, one thing to do, change it. Throw it behind your truck and keep going for it. Don't keep sticking by it. If it don't work for you, then push it out of the way. So every one of you here, be happy. Love one another. Respect one another. Remember this. If you have a friend, you work with your friend. Don't use your friendship in work areas. Use that just for work area. When you get out of work, that's when you guys come together. Leave work at work. Friendship be out there. You can go to Las Vegas anytime you want after that. Hey, everybody. Everybody's all being serious, the ones that went to Las Vegas over the weekend too. Raise your hand if you went to Vegas. Just only one. Shoot, I heard you guys saw a lot of action out there now. So, whoever you came with, say, I love you. Even though you came here with your friend, say, I love you. To you guys who came here with your buddy, say, I love you and you look cute. Tell them that. Now, give someone a handshake that you don't even know and say, enjoy your day. Merry Christmas. There you go. Now you're all talking now. That's what I wanted to hear. You guys are starting to scare me a little bit. How many here are football fans? Raise your hand. Where are all the Steelers? Put your hands down. Hey, Raiders. Hey. I like when you guys say that. Raiders. There you go. I made a promise to myself I'm going to take 2 years off of football, so that's why I'm saying that. So I don't know what's going on in the football season. I don't know who's who anymore. I don't know where the rankings are. I don't even know what's going to happen. So I'll watch Super Bowl just to watch the halftime show. That's all I'm going to do. How many are like that? All righty. To all the ladies here, this song is for you. If you're a mom, this song is for you. Hey, hello, hey, hello. Holland, Yilkatago Joya, Yilkanago Tal Holland, Yosalani Hariti Holland, and Beziha Yilkatago Tal here, Baho Yoka Yilkanania, Ayana Hayong, 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 Isanen attack hola, beaches the hana chingai ke hojoniye, nago shotonine, nacha ego shine, Heitzlene kana zayo henane yang, Ayana Hayong, 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 I had to get that out of my system here. You guys enjoy that song? That song is giving strength. We're giving that to you guys. Later on, probably about the last song, take out your Players Club card, okay? Put your debit card on top of it, and we'll do a blessing. Then you guys can go on that side in about 2 hours after that, okay? If you do hit the jackpot, when you see us, buy us a pizza, okay? Good, good. Raise your hand if you like Christmas. Raise your hand if you like Christmas. Raise your hand if you love Halloween. You know what, guys? We all have in our world, like I said earlier, you're always going to have someone judging you. Don't worry about it. What you love, you love. If they don't like what you love, then okay. I always tell people that. I tell my boys, this is what my grandfather used to say to me, I tell them. We only have one life to live. And it's a very short time, to tell you guys the truth. Time flies by pretty quick. How many remember your time when you were only 16 years old? How many remember those days? Raise your hand. Hey, look, you guys. I heard someone say, yeah, that's the first time I snagged. Hey. I heard it over here, you know. I just love it when people say that. Raise your hand to all the ladies you're still with the same man when you were your first love. Oh, okay, all right. Let's give them one big round of applause. Wow. Who's on their 19th boyfriend? Oh, these young ones in here. They're too serious for me. Smile, kids. Don't be somehow. Smile. Come here. Come here, big guy. Stand over here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my nephew. He's been with us for over 15 years. He used to live in White River. And he never looked like that. He had a Apache girl from White River. Skinny. He was real skinny. One day, he just told me, I had to let her go. And I said, why? I'm tired of eating Roman noodles, he told me. Roman noodle and toast, he told me. What the hell? I said, she don't cook? No. She said, I'm going to bring back dinner. I'm going to make dinner, Jeanette. Here he comes back home, and she had a, Hungry Man on the table for him. Still smashed potatoes with still ice inside. He left. I didn't even know. I've been looking for him. I called his mom. I said, where he's at? She said, wait, I'll let him know you call. 2 hours later, he called me. I said, where you at? I'm up here. That's all he said. I can't tell where's up here mean, okay? He kind of had a little different accent than he used to. When he was in White River, you know how White River guys talk. A lot of you have probably been to White River. Okay, yeah, that one. But he had a different kind of way of talking to me. I said, where are you at? I'm up here. That's how he talks, see? A little faster than he normally talks. Where at? I said, wheat fields. Look what that Navajo lady did to him now. Let's give him a big round of applause. In Apache, we call him, as a dancer standing there, we call him Gan Chostin. So all you chubby ones going to be happy. He is known in that word. Gan Chostin means the chubby wise one. So all you men better go like this now when you walk out. Yeah, so all you ladies here, thank you for making your man nice and juicy. Hey. So, I know a lot of you like this song that I'm going to sing. The gentleman who used to sing it became my good friend when I was 7 years old. I loved to hear his music. I remember I was just like a little boy sitting by my dad in the truck. How many remember those days when you used to sit by or stand by your dad? Cops didn't even worry about you standing up. I remember those days when there was no law. Back then we only went, 55 miles per hour? How many remember those days too? When you drive your truck all day, when you turn it off, it sounds like that car was having a very bad coughing thing, remember? It won't shut up, it just keep going and going and going and going until the end. That's how it sounds. I told my boys, vehicles are made different now. Everybody's different from at that time. So this is the song that I heard from him. Became my good friend. 1 week prior to his death, he said, Joe, my brother, keep singing my song. Let the people know this is my song. I smiled and I said, it's not really your song, it's those guys over there. And he started laughing. But I made it sound good, he says. So, a lot of you love this song. A lot of you showered to this song. A lot of you snagged to this song. A lot of you guys sang this song to her with me playing on the CD. She wa la ka ta la 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 li wa la ka la li lo. She wa li ta la ka la li mai li lo. He wa la ka ta la 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 li wa la li lo. She wa li ta la ka la li mai li lo. She won't. Ching my God, ching willy come my God, ching willy come my God, ching willy wum. Hey willy come my God, ching willy come my God, ching willy come my God, ching willy wum, ching willy it's all. chingwiliwam. Herwilikomaga, chingwilikomaga, chingwilikomaga, chingwiliwam. Chungwaili ipsala halaili maili lom. Chungwaili ipsala halaili maili lom. Hiwala gatala hala haili hiwala halaili lom. Chungwaili ipsala halaili maili lom. Chimu, chimu, chimu. What's going on here today? I was just invited here, so I don't know what's going on. So I don't want to say something different, you know. Awards banquet. Oh, okay. So somebody's going to get some suitcases, right? All righty. So, you guys enjoying it? Uh-oh. You guys enjoying this? How many are hungry? Raise your hand. Okay, ladies, kind of hustle. These guys are hungry and get mad. Hey, it's teasing. You know, guys, today we'll be going to Chinle here in a little bit. We'll be doing a free event for the Elder Singer Center out there here in a little bit. Then tomorrow we'll be at Albuquerque, New Mexico. And then after that, Saturday, we've got a couple private events I'm going to do. And then Sunday I'll be out in Phoenix. And then Monday, we are driving out to Florida. So we'll be out there, get a little tan up there for a bit, and then come back here probably on New Year's Day. So I'll see all of you next year, okay? So you understand what that means, right? Everybody get confused, like, where are you going? They tell me, I'm like, next year. It's only a few days away till New Year's Day. So how many of you here are happy that New Year's Day is here? How many made a resolution again that you're not going to stick by it again? How many do that all the time? My resolution is that I'm going to stop going to Western dances, but you're still going over there. Alrighty, guys. Boys, come this way, face. Ladies and gentlemen, the first dancer is my nephew. He's from White River, Arizona. Let's give him a big round of applause for being here. This next dancer here, the second one here, is my nephew too, but now he resides in Shiprock, New Mexico. Give him a big round of applause. That's why all the Apache men come up here, because you ladies cook real good, that's why. Ladies and gentlemen, this third dancer here is my son. Let's give him a big round of applause. The youngest one we have here out of the group, he started with us last year in June. Since then, he's been dancing with us nonstop. He is my youngest son. Let's give him a big round of applause. Believe it or not, his birthday's on January 8th. Whose birthday is that? Who's the famous person that everybody knows? Whose birthday is that? Say it out loud. Yeah, there you go. You must be an Elvis fan. That's the only one that said it. Hey. Are you married? You're not married? Oh. You better find somebody that sounds like Elvis now. Want him to look dead in the eye for you, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, just from where you're sitting, if you want a prayer done, just raise your hand just a little bit. Just say it from your mind and heart. They'll come by and they'll dance in a circle there. Give you the blessing. Remember, when you do your prayer, don't forget yourself. Don't forget your family. Don't forget your friends. Don't forget your enemies. How many here are my Facebook friends? Raise your hand. Just one. I used to do a lot of live Facebook. But then a lot of weird people got onto my Facebook world. A lot of soft-hearted people get upset and get mad. Sometimes it's funny. I have a friend of mine that I tease a lot. His name, I don't know if I'm standing out of place or is it just a battery or I'm just too holy probably. Hey. All right, so, well anyways, let's just move that out of the way. And if you guys want to be my friend on Facebook, just send me a friend request because I'll be more happy to do some more live. So when I get back from Florida, I'll accept all your Facebook requests, okay? I'm gonna spy on you for a while, see if it's really you. Let's give these guys one big round of applause for doing what they did for you guys here today. You know, I don't know how long I'll be singing for you guys. I don't know how long I'll have my group out and about. There are days when I just feel like letting it go. The only reason why I keep doing this is just for my youngest and my son and my nephew and the family. They always encouraged me. I walk through this life with a lot of people who have that hatred toward me. Where I come from, White River, Facebook world, man. Some of you saw it. I know a lot of you are Facebook people here. One girl put a little note, She asked, why do the Apaches hate Navajo? One guy made me laugh when I read it. It's because of Joe Tahani. Yeah. You know why? You know why they're upset with you guys down there? Because, man, you guys are good at everything. Oh, man, you guys are up here. You know what? I laugh because I'm part of you guys, because I'm half Navajo. I'm touchy. So, raise your hand if you're touchy. All right, can I borrow $5 from you guys? Yeah. Can I borrow $5 from you guys? Yeah. You know, guys, be proud of yourself. One thing is this. When I go out there in the world, a lot of those Belaganas out there, you're a Navajo. I say, yes. But you're Apache. I say, yes. So what tribe is that? And I told him, Navajo Apache, I told him. You Navajos, be happy, because you have one of the most greatest language in the world. And remember, it's kind of funny. Those people out there don't really honor the Navajo language. They forget one thing. You guys are the one. You guys are the one. The Navajo code talkers. Be proud of that, guys. Be very proud of that, no matter what. Teach these young ones. So, yeah. Everybody, back home, they say he don't speak Apache. Here you guys go. You get a little sample. Andin de be te ponsen. Just like guy in de sleep. Shaman tanashagatli. She grandpa bachayo. Di bachayo te ladi. Di gan be yield o kan daily. Di you do ha bajutlora. She you handi. She take gully. She o kan gully. Dini gustan bikayu ashai abi ye she o kan gully. No fee be one ashni ladi. Sa ko na sai andini o kan arosti. They always say that Joe Tahani can't speak Apache. I do speak Apache. I get tired of it when I read it every time. When I'm here and there, over there. That's why you hardly see me do any more fairs. But then, I'm proud of myself for all the accomplishment. Not just me, but the boys. We've been part of a lot of things in our life. So, I stand before you guys. You guys should be happy because I'm a 2-time Grammy nominee, multiple award winner, and nominee. Well, this is what we love to do. That's why I'm still going. So every one of you here, if you have a dream, keep believing in that dream. Don't ever let that go. To all you ladies here, don't be mad at your husband or boyfriend every day. Come on, give him a break. Be happy he's still sitting by you. Be happy he still licked your salty neck. Yeah. Oh, these two probably did that already. That's why they're looking at each other. All right, guys, last song here. It's supposed to be a good dinner, huh? We're all talking dirty over here now. Just a quick question. How many men here know how to snag? Raise your hand. Be proud of it. Raise your hand. You know how to snag. Hey, Come on, man, Mr. Beanie, put your hand up in there. Go like this. Yeah, she's proud of you. Look at that. Look at that big cheesy smile. You're a cousin. Yeah, I like that. That's my cousin. Let's give that one though. So let me ask you a question, brother. How fast can a lady fall for you? We're talking about seconds, not minutes. 2 seconds, Jeanette. How does that work? You're single, right? Hey, he says straight teeth. All righty. Now, to all the ladies here. How many of you ladies? Just by raising your hand. How many can really put a real purple hickey on your man's neck? Raise your hand. All these ladies don't want to raise their hand, like they never done a hickey in their life. How many ladies practice on a spam? We're talking not fried spam, okay? Right out of the can. The ones who laugh hard been doing that for so many years. That's how you guys got caught. See, they're all talking. Nito, you do that too, they say. Here they are, sucking on their itchy arms. All right, guys, thank you so much. God bless you all. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to every one of you. May our Creator bless you with everything you want in life. Always remember, be happy all the time. Don't be mad all the time. You get mad, go scream outside. Remember, you only have one life to live. Don't worry about other people's problems or whoever hates you. Don't worry about them. The only reason why they always talk about you is because you're doing good in life. Just remember that. That's what I learned, so always remember that. You're doing good. Yeah, there you go. To all you ladies too, if they're mad at you, it's because you wear those hickey like a squash blossom necklace. Yeah. I like some of you Navajo ladies really mad, just eating like you don't want to hear me say that. You know the truth hurts, that's why you're mad. All of you people, look at the ones who are mad right now. They're the one that get snagged on all the time. Look at that. Now they're trying to cover up their face right here. Look at this. Going lower and lower to their table, all the way down to their food. All right, boys. That's your heart out. And let's get going.
We also have the 4 sacred mountains. The 4 sacred mountains represent the 4 directions: north, south, east, and west. Mount Blanca, which is located near Alamosa, Colorado, represents the east. San Francisco Peak, which is located in Flagstaff, Arizona, represents the west. Mount Taylor near Grants, New Mexico, represents the south. And Hesperus Mountain, which is located near Durango, Colorado, represents the north. You'll also notice the 2 rods, the 2 figures that you see in our patch are wrapped. And this kind of symbolizes protection and stabilization, which is very similar to how you would see a baby wrapped in a cradle board. The 3 lines, more of like a rainbow color, you'll see around our patch. Those represent protection and sovereignty. This shield, our patch was actually developed and designed by Kel Nez of Salt Lake City, Utah.
I become an EMT because I figured the community here needs more EMTs. I could do more by doing more medical field and accomplishing my goals and tasks by becoming an EMT and doing more further skills and more medical evaluations to do more further, I would say, patient assessments, to do patient care, and just understanding the way of life of how we treat life out there. It all started where I became Navajo Nation Fire and Rescue Service, and here in Window Rock, Arizona. I noticed that we worked along with Navajo Nation EMS, and I noticed that there was some few employees back then that were worked that's still here, like Jemerson Mini Goats. That was one of them that I really look up to, and he's been an EMT for so long, and I would say he was one of my mentors, and I really liked how back then Navajo Nation EMS really present themselves and how they responded to calls, and how, you know, they can do so much further of patient care while back up in the ambulance and on the route to the hospital. What I like about most being an EMT is providing patient care to my local patients. Being out there, responding, and knowing that I'm providing that initial care to that patient, it just brought me more care and more passion of what I love to do, is to initiate all my medical skills as much as I can beyond, I would say, be pretty much in my scope of practice, and just being there for my patient, talking to them, giving that comfort in the back of the ambulance, and just letting them know that as much as I can to provide patient care, that I'm there for them, and that I'm more than welcome to help any way I can, from the time I pick them up, the time, you know, I take them to the hospital, and then just transferring that patient care to a nurse. It just knows that, you know, they're still okay by then you were talking to them from there. Challenge is working as EMT is that I can't do paramedic level yet, but I do have special skills of doing like IVs on site, and giving the NS fluids, basically normal saline fluids, doing a 12 lead, but just letting the nurse know that I did initiate a 12 lead on basic EKG level. So I just want to do more further. I like to accomplish more skills, and that's the hardest part. It's just, you just do basic skills. Yeah. I manage my stress level by reading books and spending more time with my family, and, you know, traveling, hiking, swimming. My family really support my career field in EMS. They really love to see how I go in the ambulance or respond calls late night or in the early morning, because they have that full understanding of me as an EMT to respond whenever I'm called upon. My future plans as an EMT is that I want to pursue my career in paramedicine. I have been accepted through Northern Pioneer College, Sholo, for paramedic class. And
The Navajo Reservation, it covers 4 states, Arizona and New Mexico, Utah, Colorado. There is about 400,000 Navajos enrolled, and I believe 150 to 200,000 that live on the Navajo Reservation. Our response times, it can take 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes a little longer. It depends on the area. We could go 15, 20 miles off-road, so that could take a while, or there has been certain times where we respond to a home where the med unit is not able to make it, whether the road is too bad or it's muddy, or just the area is bad. So we would have to call rescue out to help us. So sometimes the response time can take a while. So at times we do encourage family, if they can, bring them out or meet us, just so we can get their family member to the hospital a lot faster. That really helps. Sometimes the weather could be a factor where it's raining or it's snowing or it's muddy, so that it can take a little longer. We do try to run 2 to 3 med units at a time, and there are times where all the med units are all busy. They're responding to different emergencies, but as soon as one is done, they'll respond to the next one. So it varies, and we do try to keep in contact with the patient if they're able to transport in, or we'll let them know, hey, we're on our way now. So it varies at times. On my days off of work, I always try to relax, but it usually doesn't happen. I foster dogs, so I'll be out walking my dogs or helping community members with their dogs, whether that's helping with dog food or getting them signed up for spay and neuter, just anything along with the overpopulation of the stray dogs, I try to help. I also help my husband. He has a woodworking business. He also has a full-time job on the side. He has a woodworking business, so I help with that. But if I can get my dogs out, we'll go out to the mesa, go walking, get them out, stretch their legs. But that's usually about it. It's just try to relax, try to have some downtime, and usually just helping with the dogs and the community members it's helpful to me. The Navajo Nation has tribal parks, national parks. Here in Chinle, they do have Canyon de Chelly. And about an hour away in Maminit Valley, they have that park there. And I know of those parks, you can go tour in the park area. The Navajo culture, the Navajo people, they look out for each other, their family, whether it's blood related or clan-wise. Not everyone, but everyone kind of seems like they're related by clan. So they'll address each other by that, like you're my brother by clan, you're my Nolly, you're my grandma. So they take care of each other like that. They help each other, simple stuff as bringing food, giving them rides. They look out for one another, they look out for their neighbors. And I think with the Navajo people, that's a big thing. When a family is invited, it's not just like you and your kids. It's like you invite grandma and uncle and cousin, because it's a family thing. And the Navajo people have a lot of family events. They celebrate everything, whether it's the first birthday, the first laugh, it's always a family function. So since I lived in the very middle part of the reservation, we don't have very much access to much stores. So we do have to go to town, which is about a couple hours away. So usually on my first day off, we have to set aside a day just to go to town, grab our food, household necessities, or even just to sit down at a nice restaurant or watch a movie, just, something where it's just us with the family.
So what it is to work with Navajo Nation EMS, it's actually a very great opportunity. I think that there is a lot to explore, as in the way of getting your experience and interacting with the community on different levels. I think with Navajo EMS, we are different in the aspect that we have a lot of area to cover, and we don't cover just one specific area. We cover the entirety of the Navajo Nation, which is pretty huge. And I think it's very interesting that we all have very unique geographic locations, and we all deal with different challenges that come our way. And we are able to adapt and overcome with a lot of that. The other great thing is we actually get to practice our medicine instead of people who are in a metro area. They are to a hospital in 15 minutes maybe. We're able to actually see if we give glucose, for example, for a diabetic who is having a low blood sugar. We actually get to see those improvements happen right in front of us, or even for someone who has a seizure call. So it is, I think, great that we actually get to see the effects of our medicine in play. Some of the unique challenges I think that we have here on the Navajo Nation specifically is we don't have great road systems. Coordinates is always kind of a hassle to get to because a lot of people don't understand what we mean when we're asking for GPS coordinates. And so I think the more education that we can put out there and understanding what we're asking for and how to obtain those coordinates is a great way to interact with our community. The other thing is we don't have paved roads or anything else like that. And we also don't have reliable cell phone service. So sometimes that can cause a challenge, especially when we do have a critical patient who needs to be possibly flown out via helicopter. And so sometimes those can pose quite a bit of a challenge to us. I know a lot of areas, they like to say, oh, I'm by so-and-so's residence. We don't go by resident names. So I think it's important to start understanding that. And I think the more accurate you are with the description of your house, especially if you're located off a major highway, say for instance, we have Highway 491 here in the Shiprock area. If you are located somewhere near milepost 80, it's great to say if you're north or south of that highway, and then approximately how far that distance is away from the road. And then also again, trying to be as specific as possible as to which direction your house is located in. And then if you can give us a house description along with vehicle descriptions or anything else like that, that's always great. And it's always very useful information for us to have. That is definitely one of the challenges that I face as a provider because unfortunately I am not fluent in Navajo. So sometimes I have to get creative, especially when it comes to when I think someone may be in pain. I have to break out the Wong Baker face scale and kind of point. Sometimes they understand what I'm getting at because most of the times they've seen it in the clinic. So if I can reference to something that they may understand or have used before, I try to do that. If I happen to have a partner who is fluent in Navajo speaking, they are usually really helpful with me on scene and trying to get the information that I need obtained. And I know my partner can't always be in the back with me, so I try to get all the useful information I can while I have my partner with me in the back before we actually start transporting. When it comes to scene safety here on the Navajo Nation, we're in a very unique situation because we don't always have PD available to come help us, and we don't always have a fire department that's able and willing to respond with us because we're also very short-staffed. Part of the other issues with scene safety is we understand, families are very anxious. They want their loved ones to get help and stuff like that. But I think when you also have multiple family members that come and surround, the two providers that are responding, it can be overwhelming for us because we also don't know what we're going into. And I feel like that is just something that we need to be a little bit more cognizant. And calls can always churn at any time too, and that's also part of the unpredictability of being an EMS. So I actually do plan to be with Navajo EMS quite a bit longer. I actually would love to keep expanding and maintaining my different certifications that I get. I'm really big into teaching. I think that is one of the things that we could do greatly with. We can go far with teaching others, especially because we're in a unique setting for all of our field offices. I think if we can have people that are willing to teach, we are willing to keep those people that enter into this field, and we're able to keep them up to date with the current knowledge and stuff like that. And we can also build a program that is unique and would help suffice all the trainings that we would have here, because I know different field offices run into different problems, and also some field offices don't always have like higher level care, I know we're very unique in the area that we have quite a few like ILS and ALS providers, and we're very fortunate to have that. But we also realize too, not every office does have that. When I interact with my coworkers or my colleagues in the different offices on the reservation, it's always unique because I always get to meet new people that I wasn't always aware of before. I don't always get the opportunity to go out to the different field offices, so when I get that chance, I try to take advantage of it. And I think it's always interesting to learn what your colleagues face in their areas and kind of seeing like how they've adapted to those challenges that come from those situations and everything else like that. I think for the most part, we're all very accommodating, and I think we're usually pretty happy to see other people from other field offices as well. Okay, so some of the big changes that I have seen and some of the greatest improvements is we were able to establish our own image trend through Navajo Nation, and that's been a big applause for us because that is a system that we definitely needed because we were kind of under the state's direction with that. So having this in place for us is great because it really solidifies and we can pull data points for our areas specifically and for the different areas that we serve. So I think that's one of the greatest things. The other great thing is we've really expanded on buying new equipment. So like new ambulances, we've been able to get new Zoll monitors, which has been new to us since like COVID, because before that we were dealing with the LifePak monitors. Our paramedics are able to have glide scopes. That's a huge bonus for us because that definitely helps us when we have challenging airways to make sure that we're being successful more so on the first pass. There's quite a few changes that have happened, and I'm happy to say like that's been a big part and due to our department manager, Chris Cascoli. I think he's done great trying to steer us to push forward, and I'm excited to see where we go forward from here. So I think Navajo EMS has definitely impacted my career in the fact that I understand what it is to be a rural or like a frontier provider. I never understood like those terms necessarily because like we hear them and we hear about like people that don't understand like some of the other demographics or challenges that other EMS agencies have to deal with. But working in this area specifically, I definitely see that it's challenging to say the least, but it's also one of the most rewarding jobs that I've had. It's definitely something when you know that your community is in need of help or when they're in need of services, that you can be somebody who has been advocating, who has done the best to make sure that they are getting the top care that they should have access to at all times. It's also given me a lot to be thankful for because we're able to be there with patients and their families on the worst day possible, and to be put into that situation is actually a feeling that I think a lot of us don't always recognize right away, but that's a very powerful situation to be in. And I think it's great that we can be advocates for our patients and their families and making sure that they try and get the best care possible, not only from us, but following through from the hospital to whatever definitive care that they land at. Sometimes people just need someone to hold their hand and, let them know that, we're trying our best to take care of them or their loved one. I know some of us have been in those situations, and I think at the end of the day, having that impact through empathy is one of the best tools that we have in our arsenal.
Test, test. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go get into the second half of the program. So we got a guest speaker that's gonna be coming up to be talking about the history of EMS. So I need you guys to give a warm test. All right, I need you guys to give a warm welcome for Colleen Yazzie. She's gonna be giving a small keynote about the history of EMS. So if you could give her a warm welcome as she comes up to the podium to talk about the history of EMS. Is she here? Who? Una at City? Oh, okay. Okay, I apologize. It's Una at City that's going to be talking about the history of EMS. So give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Where do I put it?
I'll just clip it anywhere on here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? It's kind of dark in here. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly so we can kind of run through our events here. This one? Okay, thank you. Yat A, She, Una, Etsidi, and Shiat, Kodich English, Linson up in the Bashes Chin, a Shihi, that should che, do, the Bethlehem, that should nale. Kiltian Nasha. I am the newly appointed Administrative Service Officer with the Department of Emergency Medical Service. I haven't been with EMS as long as most of half the staff in this room, but that does not take away the fact that I fully immersed myself into the history of our department. I spent the entire day yesterday researching the foundation and the history of EMS, trying to decipher the mind of Henry Wallace and his handwritten notes. And some of you, I think, remember his handwritten notes. I sat there trying to decipher what he meant, trying to get into the mind of Mr. Henry Wallace. Let's go back to the 60s, shall we? Long before social media, before the influx of constant motion we see today. Ambulance services on the Navajo Nation was non-existent. The sick and injured were transported voluntarily by the efforts of traders, schools, and missionaries, as well as the Navajo Police Department. In the 1970s, there was a goal of developing and upgrading services. The Navajo Police Department and the Navajo Nation Office of Program Development were able to obtain a grant called the Total Systems Emergency Medical Service Demonstration Project, in acquisitioning 8 ambulances, each one to be located at the following offices: Chinle, Fort Defiance, Tohatchee, Kayenta, Crown Point, Tuba City, Ganado, and Shiprock. The intention was to train a cadre of police officers as emergency medical technicians. The joint efforts of both the Navajo Area Indian Health Service and the Navajo Health Authority involved themselves in phases of the development of the department. The Navajo Health Authority, developed in 1971, accepted responsibility for planning and developing an EMS system for the Navajo area. The EMS plan began in June of 1973 with the first course of emergency medical care conducted at the Navajo Police Academy. How many remember the academy? With 22 police officers graduating and assigned as the first ambulance personnel. Eventually, this isn't really new to us, but eventually severe budget cuts necessitated a reduction in manpower. A year later, the Navajo Community Health Representative Program served as a liaison between the provider and community. Community health representatives took on some of the responsibility of transporting patients to care facilities, therefore being allowed to be cross-trained as emergency medical technicians. It was in 1974 that the Memorandum of Agreement was drawn up and outlined the project arrangement for the first Navajo EMS system. Between 1976 and 1978, emergency response capability and transportation gradually increased, with emphasis on improvement and stabilization. Between this time, the EMS program sent approximately 150 personnel to basic EMT course, with approximately half of them passing. Once again, manpower became an issue with an 80% turnover rate due to low wages, no compensation for overtime, training requirements, and little interest in the EMS field. The Navajo tribe took over the responsibility of the program in late 1979. EMT training and continuing education programs continued under Navajo EMS, expanding the opportunity for advancement and increased EMS service capability. The Navajo tribe purchased an additional 10 new 1979 Model 4-wheel drive ambulances, in addition to the previous 8 that were first purchased. At this time, they were allowed 2 vehicles at each of the 9 offices. Today, we have a little over 50 ambulances. As EMS ushered into the 80s, the Navajo EMS program established protocols for medical control and supervision, developed formal program policies and procedures. They had representation on the Arizona statewide EMS Advisory Council, as well as establishing memorandum of agreements with individual IXS facilities and nearby off-reservation EMS entities. In 1982, the first uniform patch was developed. And if you guys come up here, you guys can see on the cake. Designed by Mr. Gordon Nez and the late Mr. Henry Wallace. The Blue Star of Life is recognized by the medical community as a medical emergency symbol. The concept of the design was to bring wholeness to both the Navajo culture and emergency medical service. With the 7 colors used, blue, red, turquoise, flesh, black, and white, each color representing a meaning. NNEMS included the cultural aspect and acknowledgement of the Navajo twins born to protect the Navajo people. Therefore, the Navajo twins represent protection of our Navajo people, and that mirrors the Navajo EMS as the protectors of the Navajo people as well, by providing quality health care to those in need. The twins are in a wrapping symbolizing protection and/or stabilization. The 3 lines surrounding the shield represent the rainbow and the sovereign immunity. It was also pertinent to incorporate the representation of the 4 sacred mountains to symbolize the land the Navajo people are blessed to have, and in being surrounded by them, offering strength. The final design and copyright author is credited to Cal Nez Designs of Salt Lake City, Utah. The comprehensive EMS system plan of 1984 included specific program operation policies, administrative structure, and the functional aspects of emergency medical service as a Navajo Nation managed and operated program. With this structure in place, Navajo Emergency Service began to allow costing, billing, and collecting revenue, implementing the third-party reimbursement, which is now one of the major contributors of income to our department. Now let's jump to the 90s. In 1993, 2 sub-offices were established after several years of planning. In April of 1993, we have the Torreon sub-office was dedicated and services began. Soon after, the Canyon Cito sub-office began operations. At this point in time, a majority of the staffing levels were EMT basic classifications. Out of 100 EMTs, 3/4 were basic and the remaining 1/4 were intermediates. In 1994, Ms. Colleen Yazzie, currently the Crown Point supervisor, was the first Navajo Emergency Medical Service employee to certify and obtain the New Mexico paramedic license. Because of her determination and effort, she paved the way to encourage others to reach further. The program patient care quality assurance standards are improved with more physician, EMT medical director supervision, and management involvement. At this time, we shall recognize our first Navajo Nation EMS director, Dr. Tim Fleming, who quoted, He developed the strong realization to this land, and people were home for him. After researching the history of EMS, it's simply amazing to see how far the department has developed, to see the obstacles EMS was able to overcome with the support of those surrounding the department. Mr. Henry Wallace was always a known supporter of the department, always encouraging his staff to seek more opportunities for a proactive approach for the self-assessment, self-development, and self-determination of EMS and each of its employees. His successor, Mr. Kiscoli, continuing to reflect on the needs of the department. Society is constantly changing, oftentimes at a much faster approach, each of us not realizing we are a part of history today. To our previous employees here, thank you for laying down the foundation for us to continue to build, for your resilience, dedication, and passion that you carried and passed on. To our current employees, let's continue to carry this legacy for our own future and the future of our department. Thank you.
All right, another round of applause for our next keynote speaker. I saw a lot of you guys taking pictures with him and everything, so I'm honored to give him the floor here. I do not know how to say his last name, and I don't want to butcher it. I'm used to last names like Yazi, Banali, but I'm going to go ahead and give it over to Dr. James. If you could give him a round of applause and a warm welcome as he comes here.
That I went through. Oh, okay. I forgot to pick it up. Okay. Thank you. Some of you know me, the old timers, the gray hairs in the room like me, and some of you don't. But let me introduce myself. I came to Keynote from San Francisco in 1987. My people are out of Ireland, and my mother's clan is from the counties of Sligo and Leitrim toward the northwest shore. And her father and uncle were members of the Irish Republican Army and participants in the Easter Sunday Morning Rebellion. And they came from the counties of Sligo and Leitrim. They came to the United States because they were wanted after the Easter Sunday Morning Rebellion and settled there in 1917. My father's people were from Galway and Donegal, a bit farther to the northwest. And they were known as the Ferocious O'Flahertys because they were pirates. And they fought the Vikings way back there. And my maternal grandparents were born in San Francisco, but my paternal grandparents weren't. And myself and my two siblings were born in San Francisco. I can't tell you how happy I am to be here and how much time I spent preparing for this talk, and it was an evolution because I didn't even know what I was going to talk about. But if there's a title to the talk, it's That Was Then, and that's my part, and This Is Now. And I've learned a lot from talking to the staff in Window Rock yesterday, particularly Chris and Barb Shondi and Una, about the history of Navajo EMS. Like I said, it's a great honor for me here to speak to you today. And I know you as my friends and as the dedicated, well-trained, caring, professional, and humble staff that make up Navajo EMS. So when I arrived in Keynote in 1987, I was fresh out of 4 years of big city hospital residency with lots of ER and air medical transport hours under my belt. Little did I know how useful that training would be. I didn't know much about IHS or the Dene. I was oriented by Dr. Katie McGee, the clinical director in Kayenta, and it was short with no frills. There was a tour of the clinic to meet the nurses and the EMTs, And she said, and oh, by the way, you're in charge of the ER and you are the EMS medical director. My response was, oh, not oh, oh. I didn't really even know what an EMS medical director was. I had done a lot of things in my 4 years of residency, but I had never been an EMS medical director. And my view of EMS was limited to being on the receiving end at the inside of the doors of an urban ER. My first real tutors of EMS were Ruth, Selena, Julia, Biz, Boyd, Jeffrey, Martin, Russell, Barb, and many more whose names I'm embarrassed to say I've forgotten. And I did 2 rounds in Keynote. They were 3 years each, but they were 3 years apart. So I may have mixed up the crews. I also, when I moved to Tuba, the so-called big city up in Kayenta, I met a whole new crew. And many of those of you are here today, including Gary Willey, the Western Field Operations Officer, whom I learned a tremendous amount. My crew in Tuba had many people and many names. There was Herman Butler, Jeffrey Harold, Bryce, Chris, Lincoln. Now Lincoln was one of our paramedics, and he had many names, and Stan Benally, who was the EMS supervisor before Herman, would come up to me and say, Scotty's here. And I'd say, who's Scotty? Herman seemed to have 6 names for Lincoln. And one of them was the missing link. Because he'd look around for his paramedic and say, where is Lincoln? And then there was Lynette, too, and she's here. Lynette doesn't have gray hair. But I learned a tremendous amount from all of these folks, my initial EMTs in Kayenta and in Tuba. And at the same time, I was a learning medical director, and my education continued. When I wondered what I would say today, I started thinking I was going to do a PowerPoint, and I started reviewing all these old documents and PowerPoints. And suddenly it came to me that I'm just going to tell stories about the system and the people in it. And it was one of those moments where, you're thinking about what are you going to talk about, what are you going to talk about, how am I going to organize it, and it just came to me that that's what I was going to do. And we know that, and so what I'm going to talk about is system development and what happened in the years I was there and who worked on it. And I just forgot a very important thing that I wanted to say at the beginning, and that's that I really want to dedicate my visit here today and this talk to our departed leaders, Henry, Gary, and those who aren't departed to the Creator, but those who are not in the area anymore. In particular, I'm thinking of Dr. Peter, who I just found out from talking to the Navajo area staff that he's in skilled care in Albuquerque. Because those 3 individuals really helped with my leadership development in EMS. So, I had a story about Dr. Frank Armeo in Winslow, and some of you know him, and he's quite a character, but it'll take too long, and I'm under a time constraint here. But the point of the story with Dr. Armeo was that for any organization to do system development, especially EMS, it competes with the organization's main function, and in our case, that's responding to calls. So the takeaway home message that I have about that, as I thought about it, was that system development takes time, a lot of time. I was involved in system development for 15 years, and there was a lot of stuff undone when I left in 2009. Let's see, I want to stay on schedule, but I don't want to skip anything important. So I have some stories that sort of formed my understanding of the system and system development, and they're about deficiencies in the system. And I'll try to be brief, but they're important stories. The first story is tragic, and it happened in the summer of '87. A little boy on a bicycle riding happily from home to greet his cousin brother on the school bus up at the Black Mesa Junction pedaled away, and he rode on Highway 160, the fastest way for him to get there. It was probably a quarter mile from his home to there. He was hit by a chitty at full highway speed. The call came in, and we jumped into the ambulance with a pediatric gray box, and he was barely holding on to life when we got there. The three of us did as fast as we could trauma resuscitation on the asphalt and continued doing it in the back of the rig in K-Town. But the poor little guy died before we got there. He needed blood and we had none. He also had a pretty significant brain injury. When we arrived back in Kayenta and we opened the back of the door of the ambulance, I wasn't prepared to see his parents standing there, and I had to tell him that we were not successful. The second happened a few years later, also in K-Town. That's Kayenta, not Kiko's movie. He was just a tragic event. Big rivalry basketball game at Monument Valley High School, I think against Chinle. It was packed, loud, exciting. The excitement ended abruptly when a ref went down unresponsive. EMS was on site, like it always is for big events. I came out of the stands, we started CPR, but we had no AED. We didn't know what rhythm he was in. And even after the short transport to the ER, it was too late for the manual defibrillator to help him. Third, I've talked a little bit about it already, but the former EMS medical directors, Dr. Tim Fleming and Doug Peter as kind of an administrative person in the area office, they really helped me. I mention them by name because they were all in advocates for Navajo Nation EMS. They were always available, always encouraging, giving helpful, realistic advice. They helped me do my job better. Their support, combined with that of the New Mexico Injury Prevention and EMS Bureau, especially the Region 1 staff, helped tremendously. Chuy Lopez and Fred Shumate come to mind. There were many others. And of course, early prior adoption of the New Mexico, not the Arizona, scopes and allowable drugs and skills and rules and regulations was key. And later on, Mike Richards was another dedicated advocate. The fourth story is about my initiation at the Kayenta Rodeo in 1987. I think it was Boyd and Jeffrey. Jeffrey, where are you? Jeffrey, was it you? Or was it you, Ramon? Okay, it was Jeffrey. Okay, well, Jeffrey, you're on stage here. So Boyd and Jeffrey were in the ER that morning as I was getting sign out from the night doc, and there were no patients in the ER. So they encouraged me to come with them in the rig to the rodeo grounds, and the nurse in the ER told me to go and said they would bring me back if I was needed. So I went. They brought me to the arena where roping practice was going on, and they introduced me to some of their friends and said they would be right back. They disappeared. Each one of the three riders stopped by my watching spot in the arena and asked me where I was from, had I ever lived on a res before, or even been to a res, and what kind of doc I was, etc. They were very friendly and very polite. I watched them cut and rope and laugh, and after a bit, maybe 10 minutes, one of them trotted up and said, "Hey doc, do you think I'm a cowboy or an Indian?" And he trotted off, all of them laughing. And I didn't have a response, right? I mean, how could I have a response? I'm green and new in Kayenta. And who should instantly reappear but my EMTs who are also laughing? So I know what many of you are thinking, and you're absolutely right. It was my first rodeo in more than one way. So come Monday morning back in clinic, everybody's talking about it. And one of the nurses, Etna, muttered, "Those Doholianis." And I confirmed with her what I thought that meant, and I marked it in my memory file and named it EMTs Can Be Doholianis. And that came true through the rest of my career. They were always playing jokes on their medical director. So what were the system development challenges and the improvements that we accomplished together, and what were the obstacles? We didn't always get what we wanted, which is what the system needed, but none of these needs were extravagant, but they were all necessary. So the basis for going after some of these was some of the experiences that I had, but they were also the content of the EMS system assessments that we had done for 3 years in a row. The first that I participated in and learned from was the New Mexico EMS Region 1, which Chris and I looked at yesterday. There was the New Mexico All Navajo, where they went to every service unit in 2000, and I participated in that. And then on a separate part of my job, I helped write the IHS EMS Unmet Needs Study that covered 74 tribal EMS programs. So one of the major goals, of course, was for us to become an ALS service. And we started with EMTI development when New Mexico added it to their scope, and the goal was to become 50% advanced life support, a mixture of paramedic and intermediate level of service. There was universal agreement that this was where we should be heading. There was also the challenge of when a new base station needed to be added because a new facility was built, and that's an ongoing challenge, and it's part of system evolution. It's part of healthcare evolution. Now, remember my story about the basketball referee went down, and I had wished we had an AED. And AEDs, this was 1987, so they weren't commonly available as they are now. And I was really surprised at the big pushback from the chief medical officers. And their argument was along the lines that the distances and the response times were too long for these expensive AEDs to be effective. And I understood the argument, but Gary, Willie, and I kept talking about it, and finally we realized it was simple, that there are population centers all over Navajo, and there are things like basketball games, but there are bigger things like special events. And there are tens of thousands of people at some of these. So we reframed the argument in terms of distance centers, local centers, population centers, special events versus distance runs. We know if we're going for a chest pain that's 40 miles away, an AED, if the person has a cardiac arrest, isn't going to work. We know that. But we managed to change the minds of the Navajo area leadership, and we won that one. We got AEDs, and we got the training. Okay, O-negative blood. That's not a pre-hospital issue, but it's an issue in this sense. At the time that I arrived in Kayenta, every doctor, including our psychiatrist in Kayenta, who happened to be an Army medic, but everybody was ATLS certified. But there were more clinics than there were hospitals, and all the hospitals had O-negative blood, but none of the clinics did. So we went after that. And the obstacle was from the director of the labs. It wasn't a clinical obstacle, it was a logistical obstacle, and he was adamant that he wasn't going to make his small clinic lab staff do blood banking. Well, I got in his face, he got in my face. Dr. Peter stopped the meeting, and then he called me the next day and said, I talked to him, it's going to happen. I told him I'm the CMO, and this is what we're doing. And I learned something from that. Hotheads don't prevail in meetings. Also, when we finally got the blood products, was a couple of months, 2 people in 1 week, 1 major trauma and 1 GI bleed, were stabilized and received 2 units each of O-negative blood and arrived at their higher level of care in good shape. So that was a win. We always needed more ambulances, and there was a process at the end of the year to get more ambulances, and they seemed to trickle in. But one of our challenges was the dead spots out on the res. And I think, is it still a challenge? Or not so much anymore? Chris? Pardon me? Okay. Anyway, from a personal experience I had where I was with a California Highway Patrol officer in a canyon, I was taking a walk, and he comes up to me and behind me and asked me to move because it's a 1-lane road, and I hear all this radio traffic, and we're in this ravine. I said, how come your radio works? I explained who I was, and I was at home visiting. And he said, oh, we have these fancy, expensive repeaters in every unit. Oh, I said, okay, thank you. I'll let the officer by. And I came back, and I wanted to get repeaters for the units. Well, Dr. Peter wouldn't go for it. He said they were too expensive. It would have added about $300,000 to the budget. And he wasn't convinced that it would work given that we had not a lot of cell towers and we're going to have dead spots, and he couldn't justify the cost. So that was a surprise to me, but had to live with it. I think this example puts a spotlight on EMS funding, which is, I think, has always been a challenge because 638 contract funding for EMS programs comes through the line item of hospital and clinics budget in the area office. And I spent a lot of time advocating for standalone line item budgeting for EMS, just like the CHR program had. And Dr. Peters' response was unlikely. Yesterday, Chris and I talked about it, and Chris reminded me that it would take an act of Congress to get a line item budget for EMS. But we can still go for it. So a really big thing that changed the trajectory of our local EMS system development with the state of New Mexico was what happened on 9/11. In fact, we had a quarterly EMS meeting on that morning, and I remember I was halfway there, and I happened to have a cell phone, 2001, I'm sorry. I happened to have a cell phone, and I'm sure it was a little flip phone. And I was in Keynote gassing up, and I got a call from Dr. Peter, and he told me what happened, and I said, well, are we having the meeting? And he said, yeah, let's have the meeting. It's going to affect us. So we had the meeting. But boy, there was a big expansion in focus. IHS and tribes now became an essential part of a national response to domestic terrorism and its effects. We had to develop things called continuity of operation plans for the service units, which meant 12 hours to gear up for a duration of 30 days. Tribes were to get their resources through the National Incident Management, through the DOJ, as part of the National Incident Management System, which was completely disconnected from DHHS because they were going to get their resources and funding through DOJ. That just seemed unnecessary, but that's the way the laws are structured. They also had a harebrained idea that DHHS did, that IHS could be the source of 600 doctors for mobilization to other sites that would be responding to domestic terrorism. And this was not only unreasonable, it was impossible. And finally, the leadership, with some data that we gave them, prevailed in DHSS backing off on the commandeering of 50% of the docs in IHS because of our healthcare obligations, which they just didn't even bother to check with anybody in IHS. They just jumped to the conclusion that that was a ready supply of docs and nurses. It didn't just apply to doctors, but that would have vacated 50% of the staff of IHS. Unacceptable. So, let's see, my pages might be out of what. Oh, I'm a page ahead of myself, sorry. So, what about trauma system development? Well, it's something that we all talked about, and we all informally participated in various trauma systems depending on where you were. But there was an initiative of President Joe Shirley in 2003, and he gave the lead to the Division of Health under the organizational skills of Sylvia Etzedy, who I've heard is retired, to push the agenda of trauma system development. Now, what could be more simple in terms of a reasonable request and a necessary service to organize better? Well, there was some buy-in by the service unit directors, but it was not routine and eagerly accepted. Of course, the surgeons and the ER docs were behind it. And in 2002, I would guess, I don't have the numbers, but half the ERs by that time were staffed by board-certified emergency physicians, but the rest of the emergency care was done by internists, family docs, and pediatricians. But not all the clinical directors bought into this trauma system development. And of course, some border town hospitals dragged their feet a bit to formalize transfer protocols. What really got some teeth into this was in 2005, independent of what was going on in Navajo, the IHS director in Rockville, Maryland, had the development of trauma systems added to his performance evaluation. So then it became an initiative of the director's office. So therefore it became an initiative of everybody else. And the service unit directors, the chief medical officers, the area directors all had it in their performance evaluation. So this was good because this is knowing how the IHS leadership functions and is important when it comes to EMS gains. And this is largely attributed to Dr. Dave Boyd, who worked in IHS quarters, who's an old trauma surgeon. He figured out how to get this initiative moved forward. This was also the time when, because trauma was getting more visibility everywhere, the American College of Surgeons had 15 system components for trauma, and it got moved over into HRSA as a public health initiative, and they kind of changed the approach to it and made it a little confusing, but their intentions were good. Anyway, what else do we have in terms of trauma system development that we worked on? Well, there were always mutual aid agreements, and some were successful and some were not, and they always seemed to be a challenge. Participation in EMS education, well, that's ongoing. We were always present in the New Mexico annual EMS meeting. Penny and Gary and I profiled Navajo Nation EMS in the 2004 NAMSP meeting. We had a great traumatic brain injury for rural EMS programs that came to us through the EMSC program, and we became a rural test site for a 12 to 16 hour curriculum on the pre-hospital management of TBI. That was a good training. We also had DOE hazmat nuclear waste training along the I-40 corridor, and that was good and helpful, although we had no hazmat containment ability. Do we have any now? Okay. So the last thing I'll say, and then I'll close, is we were always trying to get an electronic EMR or electronic health record for EMS that would link to IHS. That was tough. And we were waiting on New Mexico to develop. They had a contractor that was developing them an electronic EMS record. But all this took forever. And also the background is all the EMS agencies at a higher level, at a federal level, were trying to agree on the National Pre-Hospital Uniform Data Set, data elements. And they were trying to keep it to 100. And they never could agree. So I don't know. By the time I left, this didn't happen. So these are all typical examples of EMS system components that always need improvement. Staffing, all kinds of training and education, system management, mutual aid, trauma system development, participation. Equipment needs, rigs, and political relationships, I learned, do come into this at all levels. And so it takes cool heads to prevail in those settings. So I've given you an overview of what was then, what was true then, and I'm very interested to learn more about what's going on now, and I did learn some from Chris and Barb yesterday. So last of all, I want to really thank you. It's a privilege and an inspiration to be among you, all you dedicated individuals, the staffs of what we used to call Headquarters East and Headquarters West, but not any longer, and the EMTs and the supervisors in the field office who make up Navajo EMS on the whole. And when I was with you from 1987 to 2009, I felt at home, and I feel at home now. You taught me a lot. The opportunity to work with you made me a better doctor and a better person, and I'm grateful to you. Thank you. Yay.
Awesome. Just before you head over back to your seat, we do have a gift for you, so if you want to come stay up here, let's give them a round of applause again one more time.
Stay up here.
Many years of service and too as well. All right, if we can get Levine up here. Levine, if we can get you up here too as well. Just before we go into our awards, we have just about 84 to 86 awards that we're going to be giving away. The awards are going to go from 5 to 15 years of service, 16 to 20 years of service, and 21 to 30 years of service, 31 to 40 years of service, and 40 to 50 years of service with EMS. So, Levine, if you're here, if you want to come on up. Let's give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Do you want to say anything, Levine? Do you want to say anything? It's okay if you don't.
I'll just say thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Hello, everybody. I'm Levine Moss, and I just wanted to thank EMS for inviting me here today, and thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Levine, for allowing to lend Mr. Wallace all those years. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris Cascoli. I'm the Director of Navajo EMS. I am from God's country, Keynote, Arizona. We have a special. I think what did Joe say about the Facebook friends? We have a special award we wanted to give away this afternoon. He has joined us today. Back in 2022, I met with him and I said, how can we change the salary for our EMTs? And from that day, that meeting we started, we came up with several ideas, several plans. And we did all the research, we did all the, salary studies, we looked at comparable to other agencies, and this gentleman here decided to sponsor the legislation. And the legislation is 022622, and this was done in 2022. The time he was on the 24th Navajo Nation Council under the Law and Order. And he championed, after several months, several committees, we made it. We achieved a more competitive salary. And I want to welcome up to the podium Honorable Vince James. I want to thank you for championing this legislation and making EMS one of your priorities, and I believe still your priority when it comes to EMS and public safety as a whole. So today we're going to be presenting to you a Pendleton with your name on it and EMS logo. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, this is a surprise. Thank you. Honestly, to tell you the truth, this is my first Pendleton gift. Thank you very much, EMS. Thank you. And being in politics for the past 22 years, this is my first. So it means a lot to me. I wasn't expecting this. I was here to be a support to your service as it being the 50th anniversary for you guys. Abe and the Quagin Han, the Yande, Shet Hasinko. Todich eating Shons and Ajini Bashish Chin, Kia Ani Dash Chedo, Hanagani Dash Nale. Look on Tiel de Nasha, Aloba Tata Shahigi, Ya Kindachi. Look on Tiel, Ilzitra, Hoye, Jedito. Akut A. Bana Shado Banat A. Banchleko. Kodoye and Hijan had Zieko. Chris Ani Leda with A. Bahanasseho. Bayashtkeo. As of today, I still advocate for our Navajo Nation employees because it entails going above and beyond the duties that is spelled out on the classification, that's spelled out on the job vacancy announcement. Eda bakai belate nihinan shidel bidan shin ka ebenina in haba. So I'm very appreciative that this legislation had gone through for you guys as EMS to be the first individuals to report to the scene. Very much. Thank you. Nik explain or lately, Adobens in the case, Adobe dance in the case. Hada e nla nesna. You have 10 fingers. That 10 fingers can take you a long ways. That 10 fingers can be your household income. That 10 fingers, you will move your family forward. Akut a nihit yada tiende ko sashi be dasni nihilla ye go de yenota nihit no benich yada tiende even nache as EMS you save many lives with your hands, with your 10 fingers. You've made that opportunities for a lot of people to understand that life should not be taken for granted. That's how powerful you are as EMS staff of the Navajo Nation. And I'm very humbled to stand before you to say this to you. That's how important each and every one of us are in this building and beyond that, Nicole. Those were some strong grandparents, elderlies teaching. So thank you very much. And if it's okay, I'd like to sing a traditional song for you. It's a weaving song, but looking at your symbol earlier when Dr. James was talking, your Navajo Nation Emergency Medical Service symbol. I didn't know that there was 4 sacred mountains in there until I was sitting here looking at it closely. When you're in far distance, you can't really see it, but there's 4 there. And it was really humbling to see that. So on that same concept, I'd like to sing this weaving song because my grandma used to sing it when she used to weave. And she talked through that concept. Here's my 10 fingers. Here's my hand. Here's what I'm doing. I'm working for you. No matter if it's during the day, no matter if it's at night, no matter if you guys are sleeping, I'm still working beside you. I'm still making that effort to get that income for us. And of course, it was all said in Navajo. But to be respectful, I want to make sure that you hear my message, and that's why I'm saying it in English. That's how much respect I have for each and every one of you guys. Again, thank you for this wonderful Pendleton road, and it's no lies. This is my first for serving for the past 22 years. Thank you very much. It means a lot to me. Thank you. So with that, I'd like to sing a song, but I kindly request no applause at the end, but you can do your happy hands. I used to be an educator, and I used to tell the students that when a traditional song or culture knowledge is shared with you, you use your happy hands and you wave your happy hands in the air. That's our way. That's our culture. And many of you guys have heard that story as well. So, and they used to sit there and happy hands. No, I would be standing in front of them, sharing them with different things. So that's what I call happy hands. Hey ya na ya yo 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 la yo te ye ka wa la she yo 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 la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka hasis na jeniya bella twa ye la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka yo ko ye zeliya bella twa ye la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka zefna net ya bella twa ye la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka sa na wa ye ka bi ka ho jo ko ne ya ko la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa yo 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 la yo te ye ka wa la she yo 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 la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka haso wa zeliya bella twa ye la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka dot e zeliya bella twa ye la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka zefna net ya bella twa ye la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka sa na wa ye ka bi ka ho jo ko ne ya ko la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa yo 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 la yo te ye ka wa la she yo 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 la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka do ko osle dia bella twa ye la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka de che zeliya bella twa ye la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka zefna net ya bella twa ye la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka sa na wa ye ka bi ka ho jo ko ne ya ko la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa yo 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 la yo te ye ka wa la she yo 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 la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka de ben sa ya bella twa ye la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka passion zeliya bella twa ye la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka zefna net ya bella twa ye la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka sa na wa ye ka bi ka ho jo ko ne ya ko la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa yo 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 la yo te ye ka wa la she yo 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 la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka zefna oteliya bella twa ye la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka la yo te zeliya bella twa ye la yo te ye ka wa la she na ya wa ka zefna net ya bella twa ye la yo te ye ka gala she na ya yang ka sa na ga ya ka be ka ho jo ko ne ya ko la yo te ye ka gala she na ya yang yo la yo te ye ka gala she yo la yo te ye ka gala she na ya yang ka ha ze ye chon ya Bellat ka ki lang yo te ye ka gala she na ya yang ka net is ya Bellat ka ki lang yo te ye ka gala she na ya yang ka zit na net ya Bellat ka ki lang yo te ye ka gala she na ya yang ka sa na ga ya ka bi ka ko shon ko ne ya ko la yo te ye ka gala she na ya yang yo la yo te ye ka gala she yo la yo te ye ka gala she na ya yang yo la yo te ye ka gala she yo la yo te ye ka gala she na ya yang Put ela Eshimbe Njono Nana Tadole, staff of Emergency Medical Service, and then your family. It takes a lot when you leave from your homestead, when you eventually have to do your job. Remember your 10 fingers. So that corresponds with each other as well. So again, thank you very much. Happy holidays. God bless you, and God bless the great Navajo Nation.
Okay, at this time, before we, as we're moving into our awards ceremony, I'm going to ask, I believe I saw two of our field operation managers, Mr. Sylvester Nez, Valerie Sosi. If you could bring up one of your family members. Then our deputy director, Barbara Shandi, if you could bring up your family member up to the front. So we have a total of 4 field operation managers, and of course, 1 deputy director. And the other 2 could not be here today, or the other 3, I'm sorry. We have I.M. Begay, who's also been delegated in that capacity. But I know this has been long overdue. They were promoted several months ago, and I wanted to extend my appreciation and gratitude where they will be able to be receiving their new badge today, and we're going to allow their family members to post the badge. So we'll start to my right here. We'll start with Valerie Sosi.
Sorry. My first time, so.
Our Field Operations Manager for the Southwest Region, Valerie Sosi. To my left here, Barbara Shandi, Deputy Director.
It's harder than it looks.
Might help Roger out, Barb. All right. Deputy Director Barbara Shandi. Thank you. To my left, Mr. Sylvester Nez. I will do the honor here. Just don't have to poke you somewhere. It's okay. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. Good job. Field Operations Manager for the Northwest, Sylvester Nez. Thank you. This is our moment to enjoy with your families, and we do have that couldn't be here with us today, Carlina Lee. She's our Field Operations Manager, as well as Penny Hosky Johnson. And then we also have Mr. Ian Begay, who's a delegate as a Field Operations Manager. So thank you, all of you. Appreciate it. I can ask if you could remain up here as we go into recognizing our employees. Your family is excused. Thank you. You need the names?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, sorry. Okay. So now where do you want us to stand? I think we can just stand there. Yes.
As I call them, then you guys can look through them. And then the ladies are getting the Pendleton and the men are getting, so the ones I call first.
Okay, as I'm going to call through, if you're here, just come on up and then just come around, and then by the time you see me, you will get your award. The first we have is Olivia Tom. Raquel Zavala Yanes from our Crown Point and Tohatchee office. Garrison Walters from our Tuba City office.
Yeah, if they have that, it'll be this one. Mm-hmm. So hers is right in this one.
Kyle John Chinley. Sharina Yazi, Crown Point. Latasha Dale, Fort Defiance. Lori B. Gay, I House, Inscription House. Murphy Davis, Red Mesa. Jesse Wood, Crown Point and Tohatchi. Shantina Kindlachini, Dilcon. Sarah Gray, Dilcon. Albertina Watts, Central Office. Dale Jensen, Inscription House. Tanisha John Kayenta. Amber Bigay Kayenta. Shanoa Casimiro Ojo Encino. Philip Yazzie Jr. Pinion. Isaac Barbone, Crown Point. Suzanne Miller, Crown Point. Lula Babbitt, Kayenta, also with Tuba City. Sancia Toledo, Ojo Encino. James Yazzie, Chinle and Fort Defiance. Sonia Dick, Chinle. Tavis Judge, Chinle. Lisa Skeet, Crown Point. Ursula Todachitney, Red Mesa. Arian Dan, Fort Defiance. Brannon Peshlakai, Kayenta. Benji Sam, Ojo Encino. Derek Otero Jr., Ojo Encino. Doreen Daw, Dilcon. Otis Sosi, Inscription House. Shane Noctua, Shiprock. Joshua Ellison, Shiprock and Central Office. Cheryl Begay, Central Office. Shantae Izey, Chinle. Geraldine Williams, Fort Defiance. Charlene Lizer, Fort Defiance. Brandon Sam, Ojo Encino. Harriet Otero, Ojo Encino. Chris Kiscoli, Central Office. Leonard Davis Jr., Shiprock. Joshua Stego, Dilcon. Charlotte Nakai, Red Mesa. Kurt Ashiking, Red Mesa. Byron Johnson, Red Mesa. For this group, they served between 5 to 15 years. Let's give them a round of applause again. They were awarded a crystal plaque. Let's see this. A crystal plaque that says "Ahihat" for your dedicated service and commitment to the Navajo Nation, with their name and the logo on it, as well as a backpack. The next individuals I Call will be between 16 years and 20 years. Sylvester Nez, Central Office. After that one, this one's Sylvester's. Lenny Jones, Chin Lee. Virginia Hardy, Central. Valerie Sosi, Central. Phyllisita Taylor, Central. These guys don't have the spinners. So if you want to give her the spinner and her, and then Phyllis, no, they have the spinners. Yeah. Ramon Yazzie Sr., Central Office. Hers is that one.
Oh, I'm good on a trip.
Krista Sells, Red Mesa. Jimerson Many Goats, Kayenta. I have one like this for you, but you won't get it. Okay. So we'll get this one, you'll get yours later. Okay. That one can go to, I don't know if Krista's here. Yeah, so she can take that one. Okay. Valerie and her will get one later. Okay. He will get one of those bags. And then Jimmer will get one of those bags too. Let's give another round of applause for our 16 years, 20 years of service. You're welcome.
Thank you.
That one's Jimmer's.
Oh, this one's Mr. Yonke?
This one's Krista's.
Oh shoot. Enjoy.
The next individual served between 21 years to 30 years. Martina Jesus, Central Office. She's over here. Carol Nieto, she's teaching her class over in Fort Defiance. She's with our Central Office. Vincent Dale, Tuba City. Raynell Tallsalt, Tuba City. Crystal Begay, Tuba City. Ramon Pete, Central. Sean Mitchell, Crown Point and Sohatchee. Carolyn Cattleman, Red Mesa. Miranda Yazzie, Shiprock. Leonard Begay, Tohajale. Sunny Blackhorse, Kayenta. You have a Yeti cooler? I'll give that one to you later. Okay. Ian Begay, Red Mesa and Central. Harold Seshtilly, Tuba City. Just let them know that they'll have their Yeti coming. Okay. Lorna Salt, Kayenta. Julia Johnson, Central and Kayenta. Adrian Ellison, Red Mesa. Martha Simpson, Kayenta. Eric James, Tuba City. Sharon Martin, Shiprock. Carlina Lee, Central and Shiprock. Lorraine Yazzie, Central. Herman Butler, Tuba City.
You're welcome.
The individuals that I had just called will receive a plaque. Here, Sharon, you can display it for me. And theirs has a hiya for your dedicated service and commitment for your 28 years of service to the Navajo Nation. Sharon Martin. They also received Yeti coolers, but unfortunately those were shipped late. So come see me after. The next individuals served between 31 years and 40 years. Barbara Shondi, Central. Irvin Begay, Crown Point.
Theirs is this one now. Urban.
Leroy Reed, Shiprock.
This one. Barb, Irvin, Leroy.
Alvina Clyde, Central. Herman Benali, Shiprock.
Alvina? Oh, she's not here. But Herman's coming. Okay. And then Barb's.
Another round of applause for 31 to 40 years. And lastly, we have our 40 to 50 years. Penny Hosky Johnson, our field operations manager, also served 46 years with our department.
That's it. Penny's not here. So who's next? Anybody got it?
Okay, thank you everyone. Let's give another round of applause for everyone here today that has served between 5 and 50 years.
Reservation, we get a lot of heat and a lot of hate from our police department and our EMS, but a lot of people don't know that we're stretched out and we're we're the largest reservation in the United States, so it does take time. And again, if it wasn't for the EMS, they came to my house that 14 years ago, I swear my daughter would not be here today. And we call her Beans. Her name is Beans. And I was sitting over there and I kind of got emotional. I got teared up because I think it was Herman. Herman Begay was the one, him and another lady is the one that came to my residence. And so Herman If you're over there, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you. Oh man, him and another individual, like I said, they saved the life of my daughter. So I appreciate you with all my heart. He probably doesn't remember. I'm pretty sure he saves a bunch of lives as long as with everybody else. But I'm grateful. I'm super, super grateful for all the EMS workers. And every time I hear something about EMS, oh, they're so slow. It takes them 45 minutes to an hour to get somewhere. And I'm just like, you don't even know what they got to go through to get there, and you don't even know what the emotions they have to go to prepare themselves to get to a site to save a life or to try to save a life. And if one does passes, I can't imagine the thoughts that go through their minds. So if you guys are out there, please keep our EMS, our police officers in prayer. Send good vibes to them, and send them off with prayers and wishes as we do dismiss from here. We're not over just yet. We still got a very special badging that we're going to do here, so I'm going to give it back over to Eunice. Oh, Una, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Please don't call me that. When you're calling the office, do not call me Eunice. I know it's a BLB. Una. I'm going to go ahead and give the mic over to our Deputy Division Director, Mr. Michael Henderson. This will clip onto you for Facebook.
Hela kahasilo arin khano yagi don bisin nihisin dash nishigi hisin del nishigi he khodod od tohun shego de ya nakha hin sino shadad dot il ade di khoja binashin che no da inish has anaje atkha jo khwae inan shidal Shadi tachi ninshle ma ideshki ni bashashin thodechi ni dashache deshchi ni dashanale tsayakin sakada hajne bedado adeshta ado e khodo e ya the never salao jibin dash kat tat has tat di no an sos nache a called ade khayabet shidol adigi ich ba hinsen dort oben nach hanegi jo e ya Die hat auch diesen Tag jahagi, nachada hoshyanigi, ni kwasen bada hoshyanigi, a sheha, today sheha, and he the dish needn't. Lady, say bitindo ba and try hada that's quas law at all touch in the shada. Lay I had she yosh kala. Dona Rago Lay the hard shila Nanish has odd silent alarm, but don't need a conscious deal with. Quiz shatlo, Sakahiya Nana Shatich the Nana with she days go. A called Din here jet isn't that Jahagi Hilt Saada Shada Hosyam Zail ego Kudashosha Shisindasokhe Ada Hot Anad Nishigin Jonigo Shichiyashti Jonigo Shahaliago Zail Idish Bisnishkhe Adan Zail Inishinesh Idobik Ije Anihe Kaya Shitahuis Dogo Nada Shasofkan Hanada Shadotla Eben Nacha Hin Sodishna Aroda Adina Holjish An Higit Andad Nishigi the Kuidishi Bindashnish Tonande Tanash Bago Say Nahol Rale which in de Baho Ad Dot An higit out da bahia halianigi bisinde kago bisnil de bisinde bao de kuidishi based on sonda di trahada dan hidishito dan hizonso ad do hat beshika o wato ben hika o wat beshika o shwat Han zachishi njonego chada hosnyao na hashi jilto alto eben nachin kha hinsen a kodiji do hot adob an test case di kwa de inil nishigi binna ajin chehna da inni shu khas anigi the shilnle shilnolle don Johnny kon hilak da is yani dia ba hinsen ilto han saboshi ilto kon shijay hojogo bel hojogo betado na nashtal to leten so da schnell to shi ko he kodo ekad Chris can you come back up here, sir? Di kwa Chris look at the shlelto eben nache ado shilche hunda do diliko di so kwa ba he huin zunoba binado ja bindi ye nanat edo lesto ni hido ko ni hinat ani jonle ba he to sundo le binache don binache ba asha he to zundo kena hido ni do leliko. Yeah, last class, slow down, so hot all this.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our event. If you guys want to hang around still, we got some snacks over on this side. If you guys want to just take some more pictures with each other, get reacquainted, I'll be playing some music again. Again, I want to thank each and every one of you guys so much for being a part of this and for all the work that you do. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause for our EMS workers. If you okay, Chris is going to go ahead and close it. So again, you guys are more than welcome to stay, hang out, go over to the casino, drink some free pop, and just hang out with us.
Hello again. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and close the event out this afternoon. But before I do, I just wanted to recognize some of our guests and dignitaries. Earlier, we did have Michael Anderson, who's the Executive Division Director of the Division of Public Safety. And then Mr. Michael Henderson, the Deputy Executive Director of Public Safety. We did have our Law and Order, Madam Chair Eugenia Charles Newton, who had to leave. And then we have Honorable Vince James. And in the back we have, if you could raise your hand, Honorable Dr. Andy Nez. You still here? And then we have Geraldine Haskin. She's representing the Arizona Department of Health EMS Bureau Chief. Then we have Dr. Dwayne Begay, the Area Director for Navajo Area IHS, if you could stand. We have Teresa Galvin, the Deputy Area Director for Navajo Area IHS, if you could stand. Audrey Ateen, the Executive Officer for Navajo Area IHS. With us today also is our Medical Director, Dr. Chelsea White. If you could. Also our Deputy Medical Director, Elizabeth Melton. And then our Consultant Pharmacist, Charlie Vandiver. Are you here? And also our consultant pharmacist, Karen Padilla. I want to thank everyone for joining us today as we celebrate 50 years of EMS. Whether you are here in person or watching online or responding to calls at the moment, I am filled with a profound sense of gratitude and pride. Over the 50 years, we have embarked on a journey of learning, sharing, and growing together. And what a remarkable journey it has been thus far. First and foremost, I extend my heartfelt thanks to each employee, current and past, guest, family member, and speakers who grace this event today. Your presence and insightful contributions have been the pillars of this event and, more importantly, to Navajo EMS. Your passion and expertise have not only enriched our discussions, but have also inspired us. As we conclude, let's remember that the true heroes to our communities are the dedicated EMS professionals who answer the call day or night, ready to provide life-saving care with compassion and unwavering resolve. Thank you for your service, and let's continue to support and uplift those who put themselves on the front lines to keep the Navajo Nation safe. Let's continue to champion the vital work of our EMS clinicians, ensuring that the resources and recognition they deserve. When the moment of need arises, we know our EMS teams will be there, ready to act with expertise and empathy. The courage, commitment of our EMS heroes from the past, present, and future continue to inspire me, because some have gone on to become nurses, to become PAs, to become doctors, to become some of our community leaders, also have joined retirement. And I do appreciate each and every one of you. I do not want to leave the support staff out, who work every day behind the scenes to keep the daily operations moving from HR, billing, and finance. Your unwavering dedication and hard work have been the backbone of Navajo EMS. I cannot proceed without expressing my deepest appreciation to the organizers and staff of the event who made this possible and a success. Together we can build a stronger support system for our EMS professions so they may continue to serve our communities with excellence. We are EMS strong. Thank you.